Welcome to Scotland's first ever podcast dedicated to asthma and lungs. Welcome to Chit Chat with Lauren's Law. I'll give you a wee quick rundown how Lauren's Law came about. I do have my notes here because it is my first one and I'm just going to try my best and wing it. Lauren's Law first ever came about after the death of my 19-year-old daughter, Lauren, who died as a chef in Gin 71 in Merchant City in Glasgow in the year 2020. Lauren forgot to carry her inhaler on this day, and by 9 p.m. I got a phone call to say, please can you bring Lauren's inhalers along. Sadly, by the time I got there, it was too late and Lauren had taken a cardiac arrest and was immediately rushed up to Glasgow Royal Infirmary. After that, we started a campaign, and the campaign is to try and get Ventolin inhalers into workplace first aid kits by law. Hopefully one day it'll be passed, but it has been through not the Scottish Parliament, the UK Parliament, and Gillian Keegan, the Health and Care Minister at the time, says what an amazing idea to save lives. So here we are sharing some other stories, and hopefully we can raise some more awareness about asthma. Today I welcome VICKI McGrain-Ray, one of the heads from the Asthma and Allergy Foundation, and I'm so proud and privileged to have you on today, especially since you've supported my journey from the start.
I'm delighted to be here, to be your
Vicky.
first guest. Exciting.
I've got wee shivers already. So do excuse me, I keep going back to this book, but I really have to rely on it just now. So you're one of the heads, so tell me what your job entails. What do you do, Vicky?
Okay, so lots and lots of things. So I'm a head of service for asthma and allergy and health promotion activities. So I'm based in Glasgow. The charity is predominantly based up in Aberdeen, and then we've got some staff in Edinburgh as well. So my role really is to support those guys, but also, more importantly, is going out to raise awareness, to carry out these workshops in schools and different businesses, to support people like yourself to get involved in Lauren's Law, so that we can hopefully get it up and running. And whatever comes my way, I will do.
And can I just say to start with, I aspire to be like Vicky. I really do, because she knows everything about asthma. And I'm just learning. I'm just a wee bag of minnow in a pond, as I said yesterday. And, I'm just trying my best just to try and raise that wee bit of asthma awareness.
You would know much more than you think you do.
I know it as a mum, but not as a professional. That's what I can say. So let's talk about these workshops in schools that you've been doing. I am so proud of you. Now, the stats I've got roughly round about, I don't know if maybe you can correct me more, but more than 5,000 children and more than 500 adults in schools.
Yeah, so the project started this is the second year running, so it's a 3-year project in Greater Glasgow and Clyde, to go out to as many schools as I can, because it's just me in Glasgow, to as many schools as I can, delivering workshops to staff and to pupils. So raising awareness about asthma is so important because nobody talks about it.
Exactly, that's what I get told all the time.
And there's
so much.
So many kids with asthma and allergies these days. Nobody talks about it. Everyone talks about everything else, cancer, diabetes, epilepsy, but asthma is way under the carpet. No one talks about it. So then in school, when a child has an asthma attack, their friends don't know what to do. When they're out playing with their friends, they don't know what to do. So going out to schools, and just, it's really informal. It's a nice chat with the kids. It's an interactive session. It's amazing what they already know. But just to give them that confidence of, right, if you're out with your friend, make sure they've got their inhaler with them before they leave the house. And these are the sort of things that you want to look out for.
Yeah.
And if they're struggling, this is how you can help them.
Yeah.
And the feedback from the kids is just amazing. Just for them to say, I just feel so much better now. I'm not scared. I know how to help somebody. And then likewise, the staff. Staff have general first aid training, but asthma and allergies is really absent. So a lot of the times they rely on the parents to kind of give them a bit of
that's true.
Bit of information. So the staff feedback's amazing. Just having the right sort of protocols in the schools, knowing exactly where the inhalers are kept. The emergency inhalers that we can now have in schools as well. So a lot of schools have taken that on board.
And that's called the Human Medicine Act, isn't it?
That's right,
of 2012.
2012, yeah. So that meant that all schools can purchase an emergency inhaler and EpiPen
But it's down to whether the schools are actually putting them in now. I've heard an awful lot of parents just now saying that their school won't hold one.
So
Is
they
there a
don't
reason?
have to. So they don't have to hold it.
Right.
The reason being, I have not a clue. I don't understand why they wouldn't.
Responsibility, I think.
I know it's a lot. Different councils have different rules and regulations. Why you wouldn't want to have a life-saving bit of equipment in the school when you can is beyond me.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Who are we?
And for the sake of £7, it could save a life.
And all you can do is inform them.
Yeah,
you know, and then it's up to them.
And it's up to them to take the knowledge in. Yeah. Do you think it's a wee bit more normalised now? I'm thinking back to when Lauren was at school. She was so embarrassed to pull that inhaler out.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think doing these workshops, it makes it more normal.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it shouldn't be. I think it shouldn't be. Oh, I'm scared to take my inhaler. Embarrassed to take my inhaler.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of teachers say some kids that do come up to them and say, I need to use my inhaler, like to maybe go, you know, just outside the classroom.
Yeah, and
that's
do it
fine.
privately, yeah.
But other kids, you know, have these funky holders on their inhalers and everything.
Yeah,
now, so they're not bothered, you know.
There's a new guy I've saw on social media called the Inhaler Tailor.
Yeah.
And he does loads of little cases and decals as stickers that can go on to make it more exciting for the kids.
That's right.
But as you say, it's more about giving the other kids the knowledge round about them to be able to deal with it.
That's right, absolutely. Because if you are out with somebody or you're just out and someone has an asthma attack, it's just so important that we all know what to do. We recognise it and we know how to do.
Absolutely, and how to deal with it. And I'm going to say a very special quote right at the end that Vicky, Martina had said to me up in Aberdeen. So are you an asthmatic or do you have a family member that's asthmatic?
So I'm not an asthmatic myself, no. I do have family and friends that have asthma. Thankfully, they're all very healthy. They're all very well managed.
Fantastic.
So that's good. But no, I don't have asthma myself. I just think though, I have a clinical background, so my background is in nursing and midwifery. But I don't bring that I bring my knowledge to this kind of role, but we don't give out clinical advice as such. We're just there to support people. Yeah. If people are looking for clinical advice, we work alongside clinical advisors so we can put them in touch.
Yes.
But no, I'm not asthmatic myself.
Okay. What enticed you to work for the Asthma and Allergy Foundation?
Just because I care.
Yes, it's in your nature, isn't it?
It's in my nature. So like I said, I was a midwife for a very, very, very long time, and then...
And you can't not care doing a job like that.
No, it's in your nature. Yeah. And then I left midwifery through circumstances. Was a driving instructor for many years.
Wow, that's a big change, yeah.
So again, that takes a lot of patience, but also you want to see somebody achieve something and you want to look after these people when they're doing this. So when this role came up, I thought it was perfect. You know, I'm back into kind of a health-related role. Yeah. You know. Yep. And helping people at the same time.
You're so passionate about your job, aren't you? And I must admit, see if I've got a problem, no matter what time of day or night, I can message Vicky and she always gets back to me. So most of you guys' questions are answered by this lovely lady here. What's the worst asthma attack you've ever experienced, like witnessed? So I've seen, when I was a midwife, I did have a couple of women who were in labour and had asthma attacks. And it's not a common, and it's not a trigger really. Yeah. But I did have a couple of women who had asthma attacks during their labour, which is frightening in itself, you know. Yeah. And people say, well, maybe the anxiety, the stress of it all can trigger, which is true. Yeah. So thankfully, again, you know, we managed it well. Everything was fine. But that kind of scenario in that kind of stressful situation itself is quite a hard thing to see, especially when you're not. It's not just the woman you've got, because you're worrying about the baby as well at the same time. So I think for me, that's probably the hardest situation that I've been in, that I've seen. Yeah. Someone having an asthma attack. Yeah. Okay. Another question that just come into my head there that I haven't actually wrote down was. Quite recently, most of my followers would have saw that I was on TV doing quite a lot of big interviews, and it was all down to the recent stats that was released by Asthma and Lung UK. That's 12,000 deaths in 10 years since Rakers began. Correct. It's just not good enough, isn't it? I'm sorry, every time I hear those numbers, it just hits home to my tummy that my wee girl was one of them, and it just breaks my heart that these are preventable. They are preventable. 75 to 90% of asthma deaths are preventable. Yeah.
why do they happen? I suppose sometimes asthma deaths happen because of other complications. Maybe people have got other illnesses or symptoms that just trigger it and it's worse.
Exasperates it.
Sometimes they happen because, sadly, like Lauren, we didn't have the inhaler in time.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are on their own, but sometimes people just do not recognise it in time.
Yeah, that's true.
So, especially with young children, sadly, the children that have died most recently, it's been a build-up. So people sometimes think that asthma attacks are instant.
Yeah,
but it can be a build-up over days.
Yeah.
So not recognising that, if your child or someone in your class or a friend's just not themselves, just maybe being a little bit quiet, they've lost their appetite, all these little things.
And very pale.
Yeah, all these little
Very
things
pale.
can be a build-up to the asthma attack. So if these things aren't recognised, then by the time the asthma attack happens, sometimes it's just
sadly too late.
Yeah.
And Lauren had been on antibiotics and steroids that week, but sadly I found them only half finished in a drawer. How important is it to finish them?
Completely important, and we all know this.
It's a matter of life or death.
But it's human nature, isn't it? Teenagers especially.
Especially
They
teenagers.
think, I've had 3, 4, I feel better now, I'll not bother. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But we all know it's important to finish our medication that we're on to make sure that we
Yeah.
are as healthy as we can be, especially when we have asthma.
And also take your preventer inhaler.
Yes,
now, what's the
completely.
importance of a preventer?
So most people that have got asthma will have a preventer inhaler.
Yeah.
So your preventer inhaler is your steroid. Okay.
Just point out that's this
Yeah.
grey one here.
Yeah.
I'm on
So they're
Trimbo.
all different colours. The sort of bog standard used to be a brown inhaler was your preventer, but like you
Vicotide,
can see,
yeah.
it's all different colours now, different types. So the preventer inhaler is meant to be taken as prescribed. So sometimes once, sometimes twice a day, morning and night. And it serves as a means to kind of keep your airways a status quo level, sort of a nice settled, as calm as they can be level.
Yeah.
It builds up over time. So if you take your preventer every day, you're less likely to have asthma symptoms and an asthma attack, less likely to need your blue or your
Yeah,
ventilator.
and I can confirm that 100%. Yeah.
And again, same as we were talking about antibiotics and stuff, people take their preventer inhalers and then maybe a month down the line they say, oh God, I haven't had an asthma attack or asthma symptoms. I'll not bother
I'll
with
not
that.
bother
But
taking
that's
it.
why.
Yes,
you know?
and then
So
you go
keep
and take a
taking it.
bad one, and then
Yeah.
the doctor says, "Why didn't you?
Yeah.
Why didn't you take that
Yeah.
preventer or finish your your prescription as
Can
well?"
I just also with the preventer inhaler, just when I'm going into schools and everything, through no fault of their own, whether it's been through COVID and stuff, again, not a lot of people or kids or parents get the information about the preventer inhaler. In that rinsing your mouth out afterwards is so important.
I'm so glad you raised that.
Yeah, it's so important because it can really affect your mouth. It can
Yeah.
be really, really sore. Your teeth can be infected as well.
Yeah.
So really important when you take your preventer inhaler to rinse your mouth out.
Massively
afterwards.
important.
Yeah.
And you know, this is just brand new information to me. As you know, on Monday there I found out that I don't have mouth cancer, and the whole reason that I went to get it checked out was my mouth was so sore I couldn't drink juice, I couldn't even eat crisps, and the texture was so sore in my mouth. So I went up to the Glasgow Dental Hospital, and immediately they says it was a really bad fungal infection down to your inhalers, and geographical tongue as well.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Since I was on the medicine, I can eat a curry again. I'm so happy I can eat a curry again. But yeah, I actually just realised that. And I did do a video out on TikTok about it. And I think it got like 70,000 views. And the amount of people that did not recognise you have to rinse.
I know, it's a shame. It's a shame that it's just not common knowledge. But again, a lot of things are missed. And I think I know everyone harps back to the COVID times we missed it.
Yeah,
But we did
yeah.
miss out a lot of information.
Yeah.
We didn't see our GPs, we couldn't get in touch with our asthma nurses. So a lot of information was lacking.
Yeah, yeah.
So if we can, between us,
Yeah, and now we'll start getting that information
put some
out there.
information out,
Yeah.
then it's going to help somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's the whole point of Lauren's Law asthma campaign is just word of mouth. Please always remember to carry your inhaler, take your preventer, and rinse your mouth out well.
Yeah.
It's getting added to all
Yeah.
the time. Do you feel as if you know Lauren because of all the media attention that she's had now?
Completely. I think obviously when I've called, the very first call I made to you
Yeah.
was emotional.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But I think,
and I was like in awe, going, this big charity is going to support me, and I can't thank you enough for that.
No,
Thank you.
It goes without saying. But yeah, I think just through, well, obviously through your amazing work that you do on TikTok, you know,
Thank
all your
you.
social media, you know, it really brings it home, you know, and you've got pictures out, and obviously, you know, you can follow the story in all aspects. So yeah, I feel like,
I think when you look at her, it makes it more real, doesn't it? You know, it's
definitely. And she was just so young, and I've got, you know, a daughter the same age, like my daughter's 19, that I can't, you know, I just can't imagine.
yeah, I know. And do you know what I hate? It irks me is when people say, I don't know how you're still here. I wouldn't be here, and that makes me think to myself, what? Should I not be here? What should I?
But people that haven't been through it, don't,
Yeah.
it's an impossible situation to understand.
Yesterday was Lauren's 4.5 years, and some my friend said to me, "You don't celebrate, well, not celebrate,
No.
but you don't mark half years, do you?" And I said at one point I used to mark every single month, the 7th, the 9th, the 11th.
Yeah.
But now it's just down to half years and full years now. So it's you know, it's in your own time, isn't it?
It's in
There's
your own
no
time.
rules.
There's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
No.
So have you ever performed CPR?
Thankfully, actually, I haven't ever performed CPR.
What are the shivers I feel saying that? So
I've seen it being performed, actually just on the street by paramedics.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I've never had to
Right.
perform
thankfully
it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel when these sort of situations happen, and just harping back actually to the asthma attacks that I've seen, I just remembered there, I came across a guy in Buchanan Street years ago before I had this role. And I tell this story often because it's about passers-by, you know, it's about people in the street helping other people. There was a crowd round, and I thought it was a street artist or something happening, because that's what happens in Buchanan Street.
Yeah,
There's all
that's true.
So I went over to have a look, and this poor guy was lying on the ground, clearly having an asthma attack. Somebody had called an ambulance though, but he was lying flat on the ground. So myself and another guy managed to prop him up, because we don't want to be lying flat on the ground.
Yeah, because you can't breathe when you're lying down.
Exactly. And I mean, it was within seconds the ambulance actually arrived and got him, and he was fine, you know, back in the ambulance. Luckily, absolutely fine. Yeah. But he didn't have to, once he got settled in the ambulance, he said that he was about 30, 32. He hadn't had any asthma symptoms or asthma attacks since he was about 15.
How did you know it was asthma then in that moment?
So it just looked like it could have been anything.
Heart attack,
But he looked,
yeah.
his breathing was laboured.
Yeah.
He was slightly cyanotic, blue around the
Yeah.
lips. So
Lauren was terrible for that, going blue in the lips.
And so it's obviously something in the streets triggered it. So I think when people have not had asthma symptoms for so long and they think, I've outgrown it.
Yeah.
You'll never outgrow asthma. So you've always got to be aware of certain triggers or places that you're going, just in case something does trigger you. Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in this 7-year cycle that they talk about with asthma?
I'm undecided. Yeah, do you?
No, because Lauren had it since the day she was born.
Yeah.
And the eczema as well, you know, because I remember the minute she was born, I looked at her and I went, oh, what's wrong with her? Her face is all scabby. What's wrong with her? And she's just born with a baby rash. But then as the weeks went on, and
it stayed.
Do you know, a wee tiny baby in her cradle, that size, and she knew how to scratch her head that pus was coming out.
It's
in
awful,
a wee
isn't
cradle.
it, to see a little
so
one like
sad.
that. I know. And it doesn't, I mean, it can be so chronic and often not picked up because they think it's just really bad cradle cap or something, you know. But sadly these...
Yeah. And do you believe they come together, asthma and eczema?
I do. There is a huge link between them.
Yeah, I certainly believe so.
Many people that have got asthma have got eczema, you know.
Yeah.
And just from like personal experience going out to schools, a lot of the kids that have got asthma will say to me, oh, I've also got that itchy rash, you know. So there's definitely a link between...
And Piriton is a lifesaver when it comes. I remember one Christmas, Lauren came in, it was Christmas Eve, and she says, Mummy, me get me Piriton. I says, why are you not feeling very well? She went, no, want to go to sleep early for Santa coming tomorrow morning. She knew it always knocked her right out. Now, this stat, I know you will probably know this stat, but a lot of followers might not, and it irks in my stomach. Only 1 in 10 people that have a cardiac arrest outside hospital make it.
Mm-hmm. I know, it's frightening, isn't it?
This is just so scary. What made me say that was while Lauren was having the cardiac arrest, someone was sent for the local defibrillator. I can't say that. Defib.
Yeah, defib's much easier.
And sadly it was too far away, and the person put the wrong code in, or someone gave them the wrong code and came back without it. And the if onlys, you know, if that had made it in time.
I know.
I should say, actually, Lauren's heart was stopped for 35 minutes. So by the time the ambulance got there, there was no going back, you know.
But in saying that, and it's an absolutely tragic situation, of course, it's heartbreaking, to say the least. But, you know, on the flip side, for other people, it's nice that we've got more and more defibs coming.
Absolutely.
You know,
I'd love to get one in Lauren's name as well. But it's deciding where to put it, because she floated about that many places.
I know.
She was everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
So, when and how did you first hear about Lauren and Lauren's Law? Can you remember?
So when I first started this role, obviously just reading stories on social media and everything, and that's when Martina and myself came across you. So that would have been back in
2021?
Yeah,
22,
like
21?
21.
Is how far back it goes?
I know. So you know, and I think for me, obviously just in the new role and wanting to get to know people like yourselves who've sadly gone through an awful time.
Real life.
Yeah, real life. But knowing how to do that, because you don't want to, it's difficult, isn't it? Because although we've got a great relationship, you know, it could have gone the other way. You could have gone, I don't want to speak to you. Who are you? You know, so it's difficult. It's really difficult. It's just knowing how to approach people in grief, isn't it? And again, through personal experience, you just learn with time, don't you?
Yeah. I think like all this journey started for me was the minute I came home from hospital, and I don't know how they got my address, but I remember one of the local newspapers had pressed my door and asked for a story, and I was in a daze, and I just said yes and just went along with it, and then just from that, and then a wonderful man called Brian McElderry from the National Chef Union reached out to me and says so many people had got in touch with him, asthmatic chefs, saying they live in the industry and how hard it is for them. Did you know there's a minimum temperature of 13 degrees in a kitchen but no maximum temperature?
Really?
So Friday night at the end of their shift, the cleaning products, the triggers. Do you want to talk about the triggers?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's like Lauren's triggers were... it would have been the flour she cooked with. She was she made the apple scones in the place. She was animals. She was really bad for animals. But we also just found out in December she was allergic to apples because she was drinking apple juice. Right. And she used to take very slight anaphylaxis, you know, like so her lips would swell. Lentil soup, like when she was young. So I'm just wondering, what's other triggers that you can think of?
I mean, there's masses of triggers, isn't there? It's just huge. But I would say the sort of most common ones, well, we've already spoken about allergies, so hay fever.
Yeah,
so absolutely. That's a big mass. And the hay fever season seems to be going on
it's
all year round now.
Feel it, honestly, I can feel it in my eyes most days when I get up.
Yeah, so hay fever definitely. Cleaning products we spoke about. If you've got like a really bad infection or you have a bit of rundown, that can be a trigger as well. Smoking, vaping everywhere now is definitely
cold air,
and going from one extreme to the other.
Yep, in and out.
Perfume,
exercise, perfume. Now, I don't know if you want to tell quickly Martina's story about the perfume.
So Martina, who's our CEO, is badly asthmatic and has been for very many years since a child. But she was in an environment where it was like an office space, it was a meeting, and people were wearing strong fragrances, and she left the meeting because she felt her asthma becoming triggered. And by the time she had got out, she collapsed next to her car, and the security guard managed to get her an ambulance to the hospital. And she was proclaimed dead.
Yeah,
you know,
on the table.
Yeah, on the table because of this massive asthma attack. They couldn't save her. And then, I mean, still beyond words, isn't it?
Prayers, yeah, absolutely.
A nurse heard she was put into this other room covered in a sheet. Her family were phoned, and the nurse heard her a sneeze.
Unbelievable.
And went in, and she was breathing.
She was alive, yeah.
So
they could have just left her there to take yet another asthma attack under that cover.
Yeah.
They hadn't investigated properly.
I mean, there's much more to the story than that, but it's Martina's story to tell. But
Yes,
that is just
absolutely, it's
a brief kind of... just again to raise awareness that people don't really think about perfume
Absolutely
being a trigger.
not.
They don't know. And we had our fragrance-free day to try and raise awareness of this because personally, I don't wear perfume anymore.
Yeah. I use roll-on now. So
it's just something that I'm really, really conscious of.
Yeah.
So perfume, strong fragrances is a trigger. The weather we spoke about, but so many people have different. Like I had a mum phone me up to say my son's having these asthma symptoms all the time during the summer holidays. Don't understand why, and you've got to be a bit of a detective sometimes and go through everything like a day-to-day diary. And all it was, he was getting lovely cold juice from the fridge, because he'd been out running about with his friends, ice in it, and it was just the cold juice
hitting his core inside.
Just triggered his asthma.
Yep.
So we took our lessons from that. But yeah, exercise. So there is an exercise-induced asthma.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah,
I can tell. But I don't know.
we want to make sure people do still try and stay healthy. And there's various things that we can do. Tweak medication, take medication before you exercise, so that we can manage it. Yeah. But like I said, lots and lots of triggers. People are all different. Not two asthmatics are the same. But that would probably be the most common.
Yeah, that's the thing. Every single attack, every single person, every trigger, everyone is different, and there's no rules.
That's the hard bit, isn't it? There's no black and white. There's no right or wrong.
It's not like say you're having a heart attack, black and white. It's not. No. Do you believe that Lauren's Law will one day ever be passed?
Oh, we've got to believe it.
We've got to be PMA. PMA all the way. Yep.
We've got to believe it. I think just from Lauren's story alone, and how many other people are in that situation that we don't know about in different places and out with the UK, So we have to get this passed. Like I was talking earlier on about schools, so schools are allowed to hold the emergency
non-prescribed
inhaler. And really for the inhalers, the subbutymal Ventolin inhalers, one size does fit all. Yeah. Everyone takes the same for the reliever.
Correct me if I'm wrong, no one has ever died from taking a blue Ventolin.
When they didn't need it.
When they didn't need it, no.
No. And you can't teachers worry or people worry, what if someone else finds it and they take it? You can't overdose on it. No. It might make you feel a bit nauseous.
Yeah, you get a bit of palpitations. Yeah, that's, sometimes.
Yeah. So if schools can hold the emergency inhalers, we still don't know the answer as to why businesses hold it.
Well, it was the MHRA, who's the Medical Health Research Association. I'd written to the MPs one day and says, I haven't heard back. What's happening with Lauren's Law? Is it getting passed? Because Gillian Keegan said it would get passed. And sadly, they said there's not enough evidence to prove that it's needed in the UK. Yeah. I'm sorry, but 12,000 deaths in 10 years tells me enough's enough. It is needed now. And then I'm getting on my high horse, getting all angry.
But what if we go for 2 years and no one needs it? And then who cares?
Who cares? It's there to save a life. And for the sake of £7, that's what I keep saying. £7, could save a life. I'm so passionate about it.
Absolutely.
And I always say, as long as I've got my own breath, I will keep speaking about it as long as I can. Will you promise to always support us?
Of course.
Thank you. Thank you.
Without saying.
As I say, you just to me, you just know everything about everything. I'm a good talker, but I don't know a lot.
Sometimes I tell a good story.
Like myself. This is exciting. So recently, you were nominated for, correct me if I'm wrong here, Employee of the Year by the Scottish Charity Awards. Tell me all about it.
So exciting.
So proud of you.
It was lovely. It was a really nice night in a hotel in Glasgow. Martina, myself and Stephen, who works with us, went along. And there was loads of different awards. But do you know what was really nice about the night was just seeing how many charities are there. Amazing. How many people are, giving their soul up to help people. It's just incredible. So I didn't win.
That doesn't matter. We didn't win Parliament's Campaign of the Year, but it was the point of being nominated, isn't it?
And also just meeting other people, and chatting about what they do. Actually, the girl at the table with me was the girl that won, and she does incredible work up in the Highlands and Islands with students, getting them back into exercise and everything.
Fantastic.
So, you know, it was just a great night. Lovely to meet so many people and lovely to be nominated.
And privileged. I was going to say that it's a
yeah.
privilege to be nominated.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, I have been invited to this year's. I have been invited to this year's Asthma and Allergies Foundation's 15-year gala ball. It's a Ceilidh, and I'm supposed to be wearing a ball gown. Vicky, help
I won't
me.
hold you to it. It's okay. I won't hold you to it.
Oh God, I mean a ball gown. I've got a nice fancy trouser set that I'm really hoping.
We just want you to be there.
Yeah, I know. I will be. Yeah, I'll be going with my mum and Wendy, who also runs a campaign with me, and it's a privilege to be asked. Honest, thank you. It's an honour
No, it'd be
to
lovely
stand
night.
by your side. Now, I'm just going to advertise it a wee bit just to get it out there. It's on the 5th of October, 2024. 15-year anniversary Ceilidh Ball for the Asthma and Allergy Foundation. Ticket prices
It's £60.
£60,
Yeah,
yes.
sorry.
And what a night it's going to be. I'm looking forward to it.
It'll be
'cause
brilliant.
I don't get away, see, because I've got the big dogs. I don't ever get to go away and do anything. So I'm really looking forward to this. But me in a dress. Oh.
Hey, listen, anything goes.
Maybe one day I'll be on a podcast in a dress getting used to it. Right, now, I was going to say let's talk about Lauren's allergies, but I think we've already kind of touched on that.
Yeah.
The
The apple and
the apples, So, what's the link between asthma and eczema? I think we spoke on that as well, haven't we?
I mean, there's definitely a link. I think,
but it's not.
No, it's not set in stone.
Clinically
It's not
set in
no,
stone yet,
no,
right?
no.
What's this about the new government that's they're saying they're bringing out new policies to help support us asthmatics?
So I think what ideally we want to do, and what we actually did achieve up in Aberdeen, when the project was going on up there, which still is ongoing, we saw a reduction in the number of kids being admitted to hospital with asthma attacks.
And that's the whole ones that we're aiming at as well, you know.
So I think what the idea is, hopefully, is to monitor people a little bit better, monitor asthmatics better, different COPD, everything as well, you know, between the GP, between the home. So maybe more frequent visits to the GP.
Yeah.
Even telephone calls, which hopefully, I know it's really difficult, it's still really difficult to get a GP appointment for some people.
And so they say down to COVID, you know, since then they've just never been able to get...
And staffing levels as well. GPs are run ragged.
Yeah,
you know,
GPs take not well as well.
Yeah, of course. So I think monitoring people a little bit better so that we can catch them before they end up
Catch it early.
going into hospital. Yeah. So we can catch symptoms if they're not been feeling well, or if they've got a chest infection, we can treat it before it becomes a trigger for their asthma, and then they end up in hospital.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I was a while ago, excuse me, I need to take that bit out. A while ago, Lauren's Law was asked to do a trial for an amazing man called Frank Quinn with the Quiet Connected Asthma app.
Yeah.
This app went into depth. You recorded your peak flow morning and night with it. You could put in the notes. It could tell you like when you get into a high pollution area, high pollinated area. Eventually the app was going to tell you when you've took too much steroids. So that you could go to the doctor and say, look, there's
exactly.
What do you think of that?
Yeah. So I think with all this new technology, AI technology and everything, you know, I think that's the way forward.
Yeah. Definitely.
And not everybody can use these things, you know, these things, but people that can.
But most people are online now.
Monitor their health on these apps, and it can go straight to your GP surgery, so they can have a look at it and see how things are lying, and if they need to see you, then they'll see you.
Then they can, So it's a great way of monitoring it and writing it all down.
So clever,
So you can find that app on either the Google Play Store or your Apple Play Store or whatever it's called, and it's called the Quiet, QIOT Quiet Connected Solutions. I'm sure that's the way it's written. I keep forgetting. My mind is terrible, so I've got to write everything down all the time. Now, this question, I get asked this so many times, and it's quite a simple answer, right enough, but what is brittle asthma?
So some people will say asthma is asthma. You can't really distinguish between types.
Right.
But brittle asthma is distinguishable in that it's somebody who has really poorly control or can't control their asthma end up having a sequence of attacks.
i.e. Lauren?
Yeah. So that would be people's kind of perception of brittle asthma would be someone who is trying to control their asthma, but for whatever reason, their body's fighting against it.
It can't be levelled out. Right, okay. Yeah. Thank you for that, because it took me a long time to try and understand that one as well. Now, see the different types of asthma. Now, why I'm asking that is Lauren had a really, really deep wheeze, and see in here you call it pulling.
Yeah.
I can't do it in me. But mine's is more of a cough asthma. This dry, tickly cough. In fact, the first podcast I done in this studio, I did take a massive attack sitting right there.
Did you?
Cough,
Right,
cough,
okay.
and I did not stop. I think I ended up having whooping cough at the time, round about that area, that time. But see when I was given, first of all, I was given steroids, and I says, no, I need antibiotics with it. So next time, then I was given the steroids and the antibiotic, but it was only amoxicillin, and I kept saying I need doxycycline because I need something stronger. So next time you get given just doxycycline. So I think it's down to maybe the doctors need to learn more as well.
I think, it's really hard. Like doctors obviously are super intelligent.
Absolutely,
But there's so much to learn about different conditions that they can't know everything. So I think it's up to the patient and the doctor to work together,
because you know your own body, don't you?
You do, and it's up to them to listen and accept. If Elaine comes in, actually this is what she needs because she's had this before and that's what works for her. And like we were saying, no two people are the same.
No. I remember the day before Lauren's first ever anniversary, and I had to go up to collect steroids from the doctor. Now I got to the top of the hill, and I got to the door, and I just went, I'm going to go down, and you could feel that. And you see like wee
horrible
kind of dots
stars
in your eyes. So I got took right into the doctor's room, and she put me on. She didn't have a nebulizer in there. She put me on to 4 litres of oxygen, but I had to say put it up to 6. She didn't know how to deal with me at all. Luckily, I had the experience that I knew, but what about these people that don't know?
I know. It's and you're relying on these people because you
to
think,
keep you alive,
of course, and obviously the specialists in the field who know how to treat people asthmatics properly. GPs, like I say, are amazing. Their GPs have so much on their plate.
I can't complain about mine at all. I
and
know.
It's hard. It's hard to be able to deal with things, ad hoc as it comes.
It comes in the door. Because they could go into a panic as well. You knowing fine well what I'd been through with Lauren. Like
of
she
course.
might have panicked. Thinking, she can't go through this again. Now this question here, PND. Now the first time I ever heard about PND, post nasal drip, was at the Asthma and Allergy Foundation conference in Aberdeen, when I was very kindly asked to do a big speech on Lauren, and what an opportunity that was. That was amazing. The amazing people that I met. I was sitting around the table having a meeting with, you were there yourself actually, with Martina. There was a man from the British Heart Foundation. There was 2 pharmacists, the head of the National Chef Union. And I'm sitting there going, why am I at this table? I don't deserve to be around this table. I don't know what all these people know. And one of the ladies had said about PND, so I questioned, what is it? And I went, I've had that for years and my doctor didn't even know what it was.
So what was her explanation to you?
It's when basically you get a drip going down the back of your throat that all gathers and you feel as if your throat's kind of closing over at times and choking. It's that much.
And it's just one of the sort of many different symptoms that people can suffer from. But if you don't know about it,
exactly,
how would you know about it? Because you might just think, I don't know what that is.
Because that was only 2 years ago I found out about that, and I'd been living with it for years and years. And when I went up and told my own doctor, right, okay, now I know what spray to give you.
Exactly.
So I'm on the Mr. Nasal spray. Plus every night I take a antihistamine as well. Omeprazoles also help, and drinking lots and lots of water.
Staying completely hydrated really does make a huge
difference. Which
difference.
I don't do enough of.
I know,
I really
don't,
should. I don't. No. So, right. I'm going to fire over a couple of quick fire questions, and then that'll be us finished.
Okay.
I'll let you go. Now, this is just for you personally. It's just a wee bit, not even fun, but just I thought I'd fire them in. Right. Name the 5 most common food allergies.
Okay, so we've got dairy, eggs, nuts, tree nuts, different types of fruit, That's 5.
Well done.
What else
My
have you
ones
got?
I'd found was cow's milk,
Yeah.
eggs, nuts, shellfish and wheat.
Perfect. Yeah.
There we go. How many people now live in Scotland have asthma?
So there's 368,000 people.
Spot on, Vicky. Well done. Well done.
10 out of 10.
Now,
so
this one did take me aback a wee bit. Now, I
Okay.
don't think you'll know this one, right?
Okay.
If you do, you're very clever. How many inhalers are prescribed in the UK each year?
Probably too many, but I don't know the answer.
60 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is incredible.
60 million
Yeah.
inhalers.
Do you know, I know, and the thing is, it's not consistent because I know Claire, who I work with, who's asthmatic, she has a repeat prescription, so she gets inhalers every 4 weeks or something, right?
That's same.
It just builds up, so
Yeah.
she might not need them all,
Yeah.
but she's got them all.
Oh, I do. I go through all mine.
And then people are struggling to get, regular inhalers from
Yes,
the GP.
yes.
So there needs to be a little bit of consistency there. And question, do they need to be prescribed as often? Some people will need them.
And another wee point I'd like to point out is I've got a lot of followers, obviously, in England. And me personally, this is my point of view only. Why should people have to pay to breathe in England?
I know.
It's not fair. You can't help being asthmatic.
No.
You can't help having to take an inhaler.
I know.
If you don't take it, you might die.
I know,
So-
and we just have to think we're so lucky.
We are
up
very
here.
lucky in Scotland. I know a lot of people complain about the NHS, but I mean, me personally, I have been looked after so well since Lauren, both mentally and physically. I have. What's your favourite pastime to do when you eventually lay down tools?
Well, more recently, walking my puppy.
Oh, lovely. Tell me about that.
So he is now 10 months old.
Oh, amazing.
Golden Retriever. It's been a journey.
Oh, yes. The hard work. I've got 2 big ones, I know.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
it's worse than having a child.
Yes.
But it's great because it gets us out walking.
Yeah, physical exercise,
Yeah, it's brilliant. So that would be, and swimming. I love my swimming.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
That's something that I keep saying. Me and Wendy keep saying we're going to start again. Swimming is so good to open up your lungs, isn't it?
It is. It's a great exercise, and it's not intense.
And it's not too physical.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
say for your body.
Yeah.
Because I had the cancer years ago,
Yeah.
I can't do much with this area. So it's kind of all blocked up.
But it's
there.
it's nice and relaxing as well.
Oh,
Swimming,
I love a
it's
swim.
good
I love.
Yeah.
And sadly, I don't do it enough. So we're coming to the end of the interview now. The first ever, I can't believe I'm saying that.
know.
The first ever Scottish podcast do you know what? It might be the first ever in UK, I don't know, but I know it's the first ever in Scotland dedicated to asthma, lungs and allergy. A quick quote I want to leave you with is when I was up with in Aberdeen with Martina from the Asthma and Allergy Foundation, a very, very strong quote that stuck in my mind was, it's not the ambulance that's... sorry, can I start that again? Can I start a wee bit? I want to leave you with a quote here from Martina, the head of the Asthma and Allergy Foundation. When someone is having an asthma attack, it's not the ambulance 15 minutes away that can save your life. It's the person sitting next to you.
100%, absolutely.
So these stories are about sharing awareness and hopefully learning more of you people out there how to deal with an asthma attack. Thank you very much, Vicky,
Thank
for being my
you.
first guest. And
Pleasure.
I'm so proud that we got that out of the way with. Yeah, we were both so nervous there, but thank you so much. And
well done.
Can't wait for the
Plenty
edition
more.
to come out. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine.